There's an awful lot of video content out there right now, specifically talking about whiskey. I'm very grateful that you still consider this a fun place to come and hang out. Hello, whiskey folk. Hello, everyone. Fantastic to see everybody again. Lots and lots of you turning up. Lots and lots of you waiting outside before the pub doors even opened. Welcome to another Thursday night vPub. It's great to see so many of you joining, especially when it comes to whiskey video content right now. Honestly, be honest about it. We are very much spoilt for choice, and it's a very good thing. That's definitely a very good thing. If the content is things that we actually want to sit down and watch and engage with, to be a whiskey lover and to pick the things that we're enjoying watching on YouTube or any of the social platforms that's delivering content right now, to kind of replace what we've lost through social distancing, through isolation, whatever it may be, especially during that time. It's really nice to have that there. But it's that kind of subject that I want to talk about tonight. It's those kind of things I want to get some feedback from you guys from. What challenges are you seeing? Of course, there's just too much content for everyone to watch. How do you determine, is it a very personal thing, or is it specific content you're looking for? Are you after tastings? Are you after educational? Are you after social hangouts? That kind of thing. And also for me to share how I view the whole thing and how I set up my content and how I want to share it. And I've invited somebody to come along and give his opinion as well, Daniel Whittington of the Whiskey Vault and the Whiskey Tribe. I've met Daniel a few times, and during the times I've met him, I've had a chance to speak to him very briefly about these concepts, and I've always been intrigued. And then when the discussion has ended, I've always felt like there's so much more there to talk about, and I hope you can pick up some of that from Daniel tonight. He's not here yet, but he's going to be joining us a little bit later, and hopefully he can give us some insight into what Daniel and Rex has managed to achieve over on their channels, which is quite honestly, in whiskey realm, nothing short of staggering. I'm going to jump into the lounge and welcome all of you fantastic, dedicated barflies and wonderful whiskey folk. See how you're doing. I could see earlier that Too Slow was already shouting for people to give me thumbs up. If we do a decent job tonight, by all means, leave a wee thumbs up. It definitely helps. Let's see who's joining us this evening. So many of you, and it's great to see. Ross Fudd is in here saying, yes, all the above, education, information, etc. Thank you, Ross. Good to see you, Ross. Rico Danert is here as well. Lee J. Brown, Steve A, also looking after me as a moderator alongside Jason Whiskey Wise. Good to see you in, Jason. And Alistair Gray. Helen is here. That's Helen Hellswood. Good to see you, Helen. Dancing Midgie is here as well. Good to see you, Glenn. Luke, Gixer Skipper. Radek, you star. Good to see you, my friend. Luna is here. Rombout. Reeking Haddocks. Rombout is iLaddie, by the way. Jesse Voicing is here. Good to have you, Jesse. Jason Coates is in. I was speaking to you earlier on email, Jason. Good to welcome you in tonight. Jay Francis is here, as well as Christina Zerpoli. Always lovely to see you, Christina. Hope you're doing very, very well. It's good to welcome you on a Thursday. I know it's easier for you to join on weekends. Cresimir is here, as well as Donald Rance. Matt, Whiskey Crusaders, Alan McLaughlin, good to see Alan. Dave Cummins, my friend Dave, never had a drop of whiskey in his life, but he's loving already the whiskey community, and he's bought into it, and he's already pre-invested before he has that first magical sip of whiskey. I've told you about Dave's situation, and he's now had to postpone his plans for quite a while. But Dave, it's great to see you in here, and I hope you're enjoying yourself all the same. Jean Della Cuisine is here, as well as Stefan Novak. Stefan was the guy who put that very easy quiz together for us on Sunday night last week, and he realised that he was probably one of the most disliked barflies all of a sudden. I completely disagree. I love the questions. I love the quiz. And I was very privileged to have somebody prepare and got that lens to help me prepare a quiz. Of course, there'll be a quiz at the end tonight after everything has been discussed and said and done, and you're welcome to stay at the end to enjoy a wee bit of fun. And yes, it's an easy one tonight. Of course it is. Marcus Kreitner is here. I hope, Marcus, that you're sitting alongside Christina, and I hope you're doing very well. You were able to join us for the game show element, What's My Dram? And we're going to do that in just a few minutes as well. I've got some people waiting in the background to participate in another little session of that. Seems to have gone down very well. So while you're enjoying it, I'll continue to bring it. Zach Andrews from Texas is here. Andy Ardbaggy. Lee Hosey is in. Lindsay Holman. Good to see you, Lindsay. Daniel Vermaas, you star. Espen Anderson. Peter Box, Silver Loch Whiskey Club, My Whiskey Den, so many of you. Listen, when there's so many, and 282 it's already up to, it's kind of tough for me to mention and spot you all, and it makes me sad still that when I watch it back or pick up comments afterwards and I see that somebody's been in that I wish I could have said hello to and welcomed them in, but it's kind of tough when it's so busy. Watching your glass tonight, I have in front of me an old Highland Park 12, not the oldest. I've got older stuff than this in Highland Park 12, but this one I used on the challenge on Sunday evening. I actually quite enjoy this, and I do feel there is a bit of a difference in this bottle from the fresher Highland Park 12 that I have, but I don't think it's worse or better. It's just a wee bit different, and I think that that's when you realise that when somebody puts together a core expression, one of the hardest things for them to do is to put together an expression that they can make, that they can vat together from their stocks and make it consistent time and time again, especially when their stock profile changes, when the profile of the whiskey changes over time, production methods are maybe tweaked a wee bit with different systems in place, whatever it may be. It does change over time. But I don't think that's a bad thing all the time. It can be bad sometimes. And DC is saying Glenallachie 10, cast strength, batch 3, loving it. Superb. I do like Glenallachie cast strength, the 10-year-old as well myself. It's a good one. Wayne McCoy is in saying, technically, he's on the clock. Don't tell the boss. Technically, there's a lot of people right now that's probably tuning in that are technically on the clock. Don't worry about it, Wayne, as long as you don't get busted. You're probably working from home. My friend Shiv Josie is in as well. Good to see you, Shiv. Lee Kerwin is saying, Roy, will you be doing What's My Dram tonight? Lee, I will be very, very soon, in just a couple of minutes. I'm going to start it a wee bit earlier tonight because my guest, when he drops in, I want to maximise his time. It's still the middle of afternoon where he is out in Texas, Daniel, and he's coming in out of his work day. And they're very, very busy guys, very, very hardworking. When I see him in, I'm going to just grab him and maximise the time while he's here. So, What's My Dram will be played tonight, Lee, but I'll just try and get through it quickly. Aquavitae and quickly doesn't always go hand in hand. Cheers, everyone, and welcome in. Slanchiva. I hope in these continuing difficult times, we don't talk about the C word in the vPub, of course. I hope that you're doing well despite it all. We remain in challenging times, and it seems for most of us at least that the outlook in the short to medium term isn't going to change too much too quickly. But for this couple of hours that you're hanging out with us in the vPub, we don't need to worry about that. Spirits Library is here. Good to see you. He's saying, first up tonight is Deanston 12. Thank you for introducing me to this one. Was it me that introduced you to it? I'm very grateful if I did. I think it's a great whiskey, still a good price, and just one of my favourite 12-year-olds. Absolutely brilliant whiskey. Lovely presentation as well. Skogsbard is saying, WMD with Daniel, please. Daniel is not participating. We've already got structured. If he likes the idea of it, maybe he'll catch a bit of it, and he might participate in the future. But I didn't even suggest that, Skogsmart. Missed opportunity, perhaps. Paul Taberner is here. Good to see you, Paul. Looks like a new name. He's saying Glen Scotia Vic. That'll be Victoriana. Try not to go through it too quickly. Listen, it's a great dram. You'll notice it's still over my shoulder here. And despite it, look, I don't even remember pouring from that. And look, the level is dropping right in front of my eyes. Very, very unique dram. Very enjoyable. Regan Haddix is saying, would you say the same for previous square box versus new style bottles of the Buna 12? Picked up a 2014 bottling today. 2014, it was already at 46%. It was maybe just a couple of years before that. Buna having 12 was a 40% product. A completely different prospect. Burn Stewart at the time changed the presentation to 46, 46.3, and it got better. And to my palate, there was always the taste of much older stock in there in that Bunnahabhain 12. I don't know if they've been able to continue that going forward, but like I mentioned on the Highland Park 12, core expressions, even from distilleries that have deep stocks, it's difficult to maintain consistency. I have personally found a significant inconsistency in Bunnahabhain 12 as well. It's not always a bad negative thing, but I have found some that weren't as good as others, to use the Glasgow parlance. Royale is here, and he's bought me a dram saying, "Good evening, Roy and Barflies. Looking forward to another evening of quality whiskey content. Keep it coming, and thanks again." Royale, you're very, very welcome. Thank you for that generous dram, my friend, and nice to see you back again. Cheers. So obviously, I think you know what I want to talk about tonight. I want to talk about this. I want to talk about the environment that we've been enjoying for so long. This kind of virtual whiskey thing that we enjoy to augment and enhance a real life whiskey experience, because that's what it is. Now, I appreciate for some of us, it's the only whiskey experiences that we have, because some of us have mobility issues, or we're remote, or there's lots of reasons that we can't get to clubs or festivals or tastings, whatever it may be, distilleries. And that's a fantastic thing that this provides, this virtual environment. But for the majority of us, it can never really replace real life. It can only ever enhance or augment or add extra value to. And I worry a wee bit about the amount of video content that's going out there now, how it may be viewed. And I'm a bit precious about YouTube. I really am, and I'm probably too precious, because I've spent a lot of time in here and I'm comfortable and I enjoy it and I love what it is. I love the community, whiskey community in general, across all platforms and in real life is a wonderful, wonderful community. And we've been able to foster that very community inside YouTube, and it's growing and growing. And as the content comes out, the quality grows and it fosters a bigger community, and the community encourages more content. And I want to keep that going. What I don't want to see YouTube turning into is a platform for ads and a platform for two-dimensional whiskey content and things. I would like people that get involved and get engaged in this thing that we have, the community, to always think about the community and try to bring extra value. So it'll be interesting to talk to Daniel tonight, because I know that he's got lots of insight and opinion. Not all of it agrees with me for sure, but I think that'll always bring more interesting discussion. Let's get on with the wee game show element that we have here. We've got this new game that we're playing, and it seems to be going down quite well. And as long as you guys are enjoying it, I'll keep bringing it. It's called What's My Dram? And the idea is that I invite people on and they join me in the stream. One of us has a bottle of whiskey just out of sight. It has to be malt whiskey from core range, recognizable product that we can all buy and share. And we ask in the form of kind of 20 question style, but in What's My Dram, it's only 10 questions. And we try and uncover what the dram might be. We try and work out what it is. It's been fun recently. I'm doing it kind of every vPub, but it might end up just being a weekly thing, or it might not be on all the shows. It'll depend just how many people want to step up and take the brave step of going on camera to play the game. Tonight I've got 4 guys from Europe, 2 from the Netherlands and 2 from Belgium, and it's going to be great to put names to faces again, to invite them on and to play the game. I'm going to look for my friend Tom Goosens. Goosebumps, Tom. Give me a thumbs up if you're ready. He's ready. Let's bring in Tom, and everybody can say, welcome to Tom Goosens. Nice to see you, my friend.
Yeah, nice to see you too, Roy. Good evening, Barflies.
Fantastic. Now, I've had the pleasure of enjoying a dram with you in real life. I was up at Gantry in Stirling with my cousin Kevin, and we had a great time with 4 of you guys visit Campbelltown and Isla. So this is not the first time we've met, but for so many Barflies, it's the first time they've seen your face. Nice to welcome you in on a vPub, Tom, and tell me, are you ready to play What's My Dram?
As ready as I'll ever be, I guess.
Fantastic. Let me ask, are you asking tonight or are you answering?
I'll be answering.
You're answering. Okay. So that suggests that theoretically the pressure's on me to try and fathom what your whiskey is. So you've got a malt whiskey. It's a recognizable core range product that everybody will be able to get their hands on, correct?
Yep.
Okay, let's set the timer for 3 minutes. That started. Let's pull up the countdown. Okay, it's on my shoulders, Tom. Let me ask
Yeah,
you.
good luck with that.
Is it a Highland?
No.
Is it a Speyside?
Yes.
It is a Speyside, okay. Is it a Glen?
It is a Glen.
Okay, good. It's a Glen.
That narrows it down.
Not too much, unfortunately.
No.
Is it 46% or above?
Yes.
It's 46%, I'm assuming. Is it 46 or above?
Yeah, it's 46 or above. Yeah.
Okay. I think I took the counter away for that one already. Is it? I feel like this would probably be from maybe not an independent, but from one of the smaller producers. And by that I mean it's not by one of the big three. By the big three, I mean, in fact, I'm going to say it is not from one of the big four, Glenfiddich, which would be Grant's, Diageo, Pernod Ricard, or Edrington. It's not from one of the big four.
No, it's not one of those.
Okay, it's not good. I'm going to go for the kill. Is it Glenfiddich?
It is.
See, I slipped up. I had it in my head.
Yeah.
Okay.
I heard it.
Is there an age statement?
There is an age statement.
Is it 15 years or younger?
Yes.
Yes, that was a yes.
That was a yes.
Okay.
15 years or younger.
I've got 50 seconds left. So it could be the 10 cast. Oh, it's 46 or above. So it could be 10 cast strength. It could be the 12, and it could be the 15. Okay. There's no point in asking if it's cast strength first. So is it the 10 cast strength?
No.
Oh dear.
You're really close now.
Is it the 12?
Yes, it's the 12.
Sneaked in. Wonderful stuff. Glenfiddich 12. So
my little homage to Billy Walker that will be perhaps joining soon.
Yes, that's correct. Currently in discussion with Glenfiddich. Oh, let's cancel that. Currently in discussion with Glenfiddich. I think it would be wonderful to get Billy Walker on, don't you?
Mm-hmm.
Yes. So
I imagine he'll have a lot to say to us.
Yeah, he's a bit of a whiskey magician, a bit of a whiskey whisperer. He's done amazing things in the industry. I think he'd be a fascinating guy to talk to. Stay tuned for more of that. Thank you so much, Tom. Thank you for letting me off the hook. So for somebody in the chat, whoever guessed first, whether it was before me or after me, whoever said Glenfiddich 12, they also will win a prize. Tom, you're willing to ship them a dram? By all means, yes. And if there's any trouble, if you don't know that they are in a place where you can legally ship them a dram, get in touch with me and I will ship them a coin. Okay?
Fine. Yeah, sure.
Thank you for participating, my friend. Well done.
Not at all.
Thanks, Tom. Okay, one in the bag for me. That's excellent because that's a difficult thing to do to determine what the dram is, or it seems to have been a wee bit trickier. I'm going to reach out to Thomas now. And so that was our guy from the Netherlands there who was playing. So there's a little bit of a dynamic going on here where it's Netherlands versus Belgium tonight. So I'll invite in my first Belgium and I'll say, Thomas, so good to see you, my friend.
Good evening. Good to see you too. And hello, Barflies.
And how would I pronounce your surname so I don't try and make a mess of it?
Vervoort.
Vervoort.
Yeah, quite
so in the
difficult
past,
in
have I been way off or not too bad?
I think you've been on point. Yeah.
Okay, Vervoort. Vervoort.
Yes.
Great to see you. Great to put a face to the name. I have seen pictures of you, I think, probably through Facebook and social media and things like that. But it's nice to welcome you in a vPub. Are you ready to play a wee game of What's My Dram?
Yes, definitely.
Are you asking, my friend, or answering?
I will be answering as well.
Okay, so you have a whiskey on hand. It's a core range product, and you're going to give me 3 minutes, which I'll start. I'll get the counter back up first. I'll start the timer now. And of course, I'm going to ask you, Thomas, is it a Speyside?
It is.
Oh, wow. Okay. Is it a Glen?
It isn't.
It's not a Glen from Speyside.
Nope.
Great. Is it from one of the big four? That's Grant's, Diageo, Pernod Ricard, or Diageo?
It's not. No.
Okay, so it's a small air Speyside distillery. Is it 46% or above?
It isn't. No.
No. Okay, so we're saying that it's below 46% then. Okay. Is it Tom and Till?
No.
Oh, see, if I'd have got that, that would have been. So we're looking at lower ABV Speysiders then. Who else is in the game? Because Highland. It's going to be tricky. I need a moment. 1 minute, 50 seconds left. It's not from the big guys. And it's definitely Speyside, yes?
It is Speyside, yes.
Wow. Is it owned by an independent bottler?
It is.
It is.
Yes.
Is there an age statement?
Yes, there is.
Is it 10 years old?
Yes.
Oops. Is it Benromac 10?
Congratulations.
That's unbelievable. I was nowhere. I was absolutely lost without a paddle. Now, what I did is I visualized Speyside, and Benromac is one of those ones that's kind of up north and west,
Yeah.
and it's separate from all the other Speysiders. And when you're searching around in that knot of distilleries that is Speyside, that kind of I'm so grateful, Thomas. Thank you so much.
It's such a good ram. So I'm hoping one of the mods can tell me who was first, because I've seen it pass in the chat, and it's time to finish off this bottle and get a new one, I think.
Wonderful stuff. If you have any trouble shipping it, what could happen actually is that I'm currently designing a glass topper, and what was probably going to happen is I'm going to probably go back retroactively or retrospectively and ship a glass topper out to everybody that's won. Thank you for participating and winning a wee giveaway for somebody in the chat, Thomas. Great to welcome you in.
My pleasure.
Please hang around until the end, my friend.
Bye-bye. Good evening, everybody.
Thank you. I will constantly forget that time of water. Okay, let's bring our third participant in now. We're back in, where are we? We're actually still in Belgium, because we're going to bring in Menno's multi-mission. My friend and long-term supporter, Menno, it's great to see you. It's great to... I've seen pictures of you, of course. We have never had the chance of meeting in real life. It will happen one day soon, my friend. But welcome to the vPub.
Thank you very much. It's a pleasure to be here, for now, at least.
It's nice to welcome you. Have you got... or let me ask first. You're ready to play What's My Dram? And yes?
Yeah.
And are you asking or answering?
I'm asking.
You're asking. Menno, thank you so much. Thank you.
Oh, here we go.
Yeah, here we go. Okay, just let me start the timer. I have a bottle on hand. Let me pull it up. And I will just make sure it's out of sight so nobody sees it. It's popped up there. It's the only bottle on my desk. Good luck, my friend. Carry on.
Okay, is it a Speyside?
No.
Is it a Highland?
Yes.
Is the is the first letter in the first half of the alphabet. So that would be A to M.
Yes, the first letter is in the first half of the alphabet. Interesting.
Is it a Glen?
Yes.
Okay, so that will be mainland, I think. Boom, boom, boom.
Super work.
Okay, so I've got like how many questions left? So that will be not enough. More Glens than questions. So is it owned by one of the big guys, the big four?
No. Wow, this chat moves fast when we're playing this.
Is it in the Southern Highlands?
Yes.
Is it Glengoyne?
Yes.
Okay.
1 minute, 19 minutes.
Does it have an age statement?
No.
Is it the Glengoyne Legacy?
Well done. Well done, Menno.
King of the world.
So there you go. Maybe asking is not as difficult as we thought. I've managed 2 tonight, and you've nailed it as well with questions to spare. Menno, you must be feeling pretty good about that. I thought I'd been a wee bit tricky there, but see, as soon as you said Highland with a Glen, I thought, oh, he's doing well. Then Southern, brilliant stuff. Menno, well done. Thanks for coming in.
Thank you very much. It was a pleasure.
I owe a prize, a giveaway this time. It's 2 to me, 1 to you. It's currently standing at 1 to Belgium. That's the only score that's been had so far. So the pressure's on Harrow in the background. Menno,
Good luck, Harrow.
Thanks for dropping in. Stay till the end, my friend. Hang out
Will
with us
do.
till the quiz, won't you? And so good to see you. So good to meet you. Cheers, Menno.
Cheers.
Finally, let's bring in Harrow.
Hi. Cheers.
Harrow, Whiskey Weekend Dram. That's how most people would know you as, Harrow, right?
It is.
Good to welcome you and good to put a face to the name as well.
Thank you.
Have you got... well, let me ask you first. Are you ready to play What's My Dram?
I'm ready.
You look calm. You don't look nervous in the slightest. Are you asking or are you answering tonight?
I'm asking you.
You're asking. Okay, so I'm going to have a bottle on hand then. And I'll pop it here. And this is for Holland. You're doing this is for the Netherlands. You're doing this, isn't it? Right?
Yeah, to get a draw.
To get a draw, yes, against Belgium.
Yes.
Okay, good luck, my friend. I wish you all the best. Let's bring up the counter. I'll start the timer on 3 minutes, and I'll say ask away.
Is it a space side?
Yes.
Is it a Glen?
No.
Is it in Dufftown?
Sorry, say that again.
Is it in Dufton? Dufftown, Dufton.
Is it in Dufton? Oh, sorry. No.
Is it in the north of the south?
The north of the south of Speyside. Wow. That's a tricky one. Okay. I would say that is... you have to ask me a yes or a no question.
Is it in the south of Speyside?
Yes.
Is it a Tumnevellen?
No, it's not Tamnavula. No. You went sniper.
Yes, I did. Good question. Is it below or above? Is it below the River Spey?
I'm not sure, but I think so. If you want, we've got a minute. I'm going to just check. So let me type it in. Is it north or south? Oh wow! It's actually. It looks like it's located south.
Okay. No Glen.
Oh, actually, the distillery itself is situated north of the River Spey. 40
North.
seconds left, my friend.
Is it a Macallan?
No.
A
Think
Greg?
bigger. Think that question's bigger, broader, or
Distillery, you mean?
no.
Okay. Is it a small distillery?
No. It's not. I was thinking more on the producer side.
Like it's one of the big companies.
Yes.
Joe. Is it a Diageo?
Yes. Continue.
Okay. I said Greggamore, I think. I said Greggamore before. Is it a Greggamore?
No. One more question, and this is if you're going to have to snipe this, and if you snipe it, I will be shocked and amazed.
Cardo 10.
Oh, it's not Cardew. It ends almost in a similar way.
Knock'n'do.
I can do 12. If you'd got Diageo, no Glen, Diageo, I think when you started to talk about it being around in the River Spey, I thought you'd hone in on it. But if you'd got the Diageo, the producers down and things, but I think you felt confident a wee bit too early, didn't you?
Yeah, I think I was too confident. Yeah.
Unlucky, my friend, unlucky. Well, maybe I'll get you back on at some point in the future and you can take revenge on me. If I'm honest, I think the Can-Do is maybe one of the under the radar Diageo. I go through a lot of it because I really enjoy it. I think it's quite a nice dram. It's one of the biggest selling malt whiskies in Spain. It's huge, and a Can-Do distillery is 1.5 million litres or thereabouts. It's a big old place. But you've been very unlucky tonight, my friend.
Yeah, so that is Belgium one. So cheers to you, Menno and Tom.
And cheers to you for dropping in and participating. Stay till then, my friend, won't you?
I will, thank you.
Well done, Harrow. So unlucky, so unlucky. So there we go. We need to refine it over time. It's certainly dialing in our thoughts in terms of the landscape, where the distilleries are situated, what's core range. It's making us think about whiskey in a way that often I think we don't think about whiskey. It's quite interesting. I hope that was a bit of fun for you. That was a wee bit easier for me tonight, I felt. I don't know if it's just because of the drams that they picked, or I think I was just a wee bit lucky. I think I was lucky. So 1 to Belgium, 0 to the Netherlands tonight. Thank you for everybody that participated and played. Let me know if you're interested in joining. I've already reached out to some of the guys in Northern Ireland to come on board. I'm going to reach out to some of the guys in the London Whisky Club and just kind of bring it in group by group. And if we can play it in little groups to start with and see if it's a game that might endure, that's how I would like to play it. Okay, so I notice that in the background, I did talk about making my guest's time as efficient as possible. I see that he's just this minute dropped in. Give me a thumbs up if you're good to go. Yes, Daniel is good to go. I'm excited, and it should have been, I should have had Daniel and Rex. I should have had the Whiskey Vault, the Whiskey Tribe, somebody on this show before, but I knew that I wanted the topic to be right. I knew I wanted the subject matter to be right. It has to be more than just hanging out and having a nice dram together. It had to have a value for the community. When I was talking about this topic to so many people over so many days over the last few weeks, literally it's been a very, very regular discussion I've had with producers, with people trying to find their feet going out there live. I started to think about it. I started to think about the article that I wrote and put out on Malt today. I'm very excited about that. I'm very pleased to have that gone out there. Feels like a really nice thing to talk about. And I wanted to do a vPub topic. It was very obvious who I would invite in to talk about this stuff. My friend, I see you putting a cigar in your mouth in typical Daniel style. So good to see you. Welcome to the vPub.
Yeah, cheers, man. I'm so glad to be here.
You're looking very relaxed. It looks very warm and comfortable there.
Well, see, it is in Texas, and we're crawling in on summer now, so it's probably in the high 20s.
Well,
yeah,
we managed to get up to about 17 or 18 degrees recently, but it's dropped back down to its normal 12 or 13 again. So you were trying to do some quick conversions in your head to speak
I
a
was.
little
Now
bit,
I'm
right?
looking it up to see. I'm trying to look and see how close I was.
Can I say, Daniel, while you're doing that, I want to start with a story, if you'll permit me. Is that a good way to start things off?
Absolutely.
Let's put me in a departure airport lounge, okay? And I'm coming back from a press trip. I don't get a lot of press trips because guess what? I'm not a journalist, and I'm not really on that list. But it's nice to get invited along to those things now and again, let's say. And it was a fantastic trip. We're just kind of winding down, and we're all kind of in our own bubbles, sitting there for the plane to take us back home. And I'm sitting there amongst pretty elite journalists, people that are fantastic at their job, nice people as well. And one of them's looking through his phone, and he says, and I'm going to swear, because he says out loud, "Holy shit, has anyone heard of the Whiskey Tribe?" Honestly, this is a true story. And I turned and I said, I was there, and they knew that I was in the YouTube realm. And I said, yes, of course I've heard of the Whiskey Tribe. He said, have you seen how many thousand followers they've got in Facebook?
Yeah, that's ridiculous.
I said, okay. I said, do you know what the Whiskey Tribe is? He said, no. I said, it's a channel, and it's the sister channel of the Whiskey Vault. It's run by Daniel Whittington and Rex Williams in Texas. And between them, they have 250,000 subscribers. That was back then.
Right.
250,000 subscribers over the two channels. And they were dumbfounded. So there's two things.
So are we.
There's two things that's amazing about that they were somehow that had grown and they were not fully aware of it. And the sheer scale of it. Because now if we take the Whiskey Vault and the Whiskey Tribe, you're at 500,000 subscribers over the two channels.
Yeah, that's true. It's bizarre, isn't it?
Yeah, it's. Now let me open. You know what the topics that we want to talk about tonight, but let me open by asking you, that must have taken you a little bit by surprise, the scale of that.
Look, I've been caught off guard and surprised by every single thing that's happened from the first time we hit 500 subscribers. So, like, there's not been a single moment that I haven't been going, holy crap, guys, have you seen this? This is crazy. This is amazing.
Yes.
There's never been a grand scheme or a grand plan. I mean, we had some plans with the Patreon and we're still achieving them, but with the tribe itself, it's just been trying to keep up.
Yes. Yes, and I can see that you're very community focused because you are actively following their wishes and their whims and responding to the feedback that you get from them. We'll talk about that in a little bit. But when we talk about, I've been in marketing for about 10 years now, and for as long as I've been in marketing, people have been telling me that the next thing is video, but nobody has ever taken video really seriously. They've explored and they've done it, and some companies are better, some are more forward thinking, some are more media, some people just have the setup. And I think there's a few reasons for that, because you don't employ people typically to be good in front of camera, you employ them to be good at their job. And suddenly if you find yourself being asked to step in front of a camera, that's one barrier that you didn't expect to cross. And I think that's one of the things that excludes people. But we're in a situation now that video is being forced on people, and we're all suddenly becoming quite comfortable with it quite quickly. Are you seeing what I'm seeing? Are you seeing a huge explosion?
Well, especially right now, right? Like everybody and their dog is living on Zoom right now for the last month.
Yeah.
So that's not surprising. But even before that, more and more, because we work with small businesses almost entirely in the Wizard Academy. And more and more and more they're getting into internal video, even if it's just for the website or if it's, posting commercials to Facebook or little, short little video clips from their phone to Facebook or things like customer testimonials. Yeah, it's absolutely growing.
So people are becoming more and more comfortable in that video format.
Yeah, I think too that, and it still is this way. You can always pick outliers. And then you can always pick people to hassle for things. But for a long time, anything video was just sort of relegated, especially if it's YouTube. It was either in two categories. It was either professional commercial that you went and paid 50 grand to shoot for a 60-second commercial spot that aired on TV, or it was something that the social media guy was in charge of. And there was no middle ground. Right? Either we're going to hire a professional studio and it's just going to do this tiny little clip, and it's going to, even though we spent 50 grand, it's still going to look like a local commercial. Or it's like, well, I don't know about that Facebook video, YouTube stuff. Let's find that social media intern. He can probably handle it. That's not true anymore. The companies are starting to take what happens on video very seriously. And I think that's entirely due to the people who waded into video when it was inconvenient and awkward and new and made it work. And now everyone else is going like, hey, hang on.
Yeah, that is interesting. And it's kind of funny that you use the analogy there of social media and high-end production, because what we really have there, if we look at high-end production, they're making an advert. Social media, they were tasked with making content. And those two worlds need to collide.
Yeah.
How would you describe what you make? Because you make, and I've always said this, and it's not because I'm blowing wind up your skirt.
Yeah, but it depends on who you ask.
You're trying really hard to bring fun and entertainment and to be crazy and to do these, but under almost every piece of content that you put out there, there's an educational message. There's something about drinking responsibly or about why this thing exists.
Right.
And it's put forward. So what you're doing there, you're not just saying drink whiskey, drink our whiskey. You're actively creating content that attracts community like a magnet.
Yeah. What would you call what we're doing? I don't know. I know that
here's frustrating, because you've got a business on the back of it, but you're not making adverts.
And that was very much by accident. And we aggressively do not promote our own stuff on Vault at all, but we barely even talk about it because it's illegal to try to promote a for-profit business on the back of a nonprofit. And then on the Tribe channel, we'll talk about what we're doing, but only if it relates to the context of the point of the video. I can tell you when we really started talking about what we were trying to do, the goal was to be the direction of Top Gear.
Okay.
Right. Now, you would never consider Top Gear or now, what is it called? The Amazon remake of it.
Yes. What is it? The Grand Tour?
The Grand Tour. So I really loved that. But you always ended up learning about cars by accident.
Yeah.
Right. Like, and they would have all these ridiculous races. A celebrity gets behind the wheel or, like just absurd stuff. But at the end of it, you would be shocked to know that I do actually know something about some of the new cars coming out. And, but that wasn't really it, right? Now, there were plenty of shows you could watch if you really took cars very seriously.
Yes.
And that's not our show for whiskey, right? If you take whiskey very seriously, then they hang out with you, or they hang out with Scotch Test, or they hang out with Bourbon Night, or any number of other astounding, or Ralphie, right? But I think we try to make, if we're finishing a video, we don't feel it's done unless it's ridiculous. And it definitely lets people realize we don't take this ourselves very seriously at all.
Yeah.
And two, we did actually provide some tiny piece of information that might be helpful to you at some point. And
I
that's
agree
it.
with you there. People do turn up to watch your content. They're hoping for a laugh. They're hoping for some engagement and some fun. And I think it's interesting what you say about if they're looking for a more serious thing, they would maybe come to me for that. They would maybe come to a review channel, one of the review channels that's out there. You mentioned Ralphie and so many of them. But I think what happens is that what they're getting, and you mentioned Top Gear, it's the same. The human side, the human element. And if they can connect with people, whether that's through entertainment, fun, jokes, stunts, or whether it's through just, you know, some kind of form of interactivity or feeling like you be friends with them, I think that helps. And that doesn't happen if you make content to advertise a logotype or a brand or a product.
The only one who's ever come anywhere close was Guinness. Guinness consistently makes commercials that you're like, oh, that one got me in all the feels, and now I want to go buy a Guinness, right? But that's astoundingly rare.
Yes, it's interesting. Yeah. It's interesting that that's Diageo that you're talking about nowadays.
I know.
Right? Okay, but I mean, yeah, absolutely. It's a good example to use, and I think that what's happening now is that there's a lot of nerves out there because a lot of brand ambassadors, a lot of brands, a lot of people are suddenly finding themselves put in a position that they didn't really expect to be in to present the product on video and things.
Right.
I think it's okay to be nervous because it lets the human side show.
Yes. For the love of God, okay. So we teach this thing at the Academy, which is there's a difference between transparency and vulnerability.
Yes.
There's a big difference, right? All the companies want to be transparent when they're doing these kinds of, let's be transparent. Let's let everybody behind the doors. Let's give them inside access. But nobody wants to be vulnerable. No one wants to look stupid or say the wrong thing or be a goofball or that's vulnerability to screw up and be human and flawed. So everyone wants to be transparent and they think that that's the answer. Let's just be transparent. But when you're unwilling to be vulnerable, then your transparency always comes off as staged. Yes. Like, yeah, you gave us backside access when we're here, but you definitely like curated what we were and weren't going to see. Like, there's no warts, there's no mess ups, there's no guy in the background trying to move grain into a bin who drops it and it goes everywhere. Like, there's no human element, right? Or a guy in the background who's like smoking a cigarette. Who's like,
do you think that harks back to the old days of brand protection?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. But look, it's scary to be vulnerable. You got to have some sympathy for that. It's terrifying. And people, especially on the internet, are very fast to let you know that you're an idiot.
I tell you what, doing what we've done on video, your skin suddenly becomes quite thick, right?
Yeah, it's brutal, isn't it? Yeah.
People can be brutal, absolutely. They can.
Yeah, who was it who said, it's maybe one of the people in the comments will remember, there was some guy who said, when I hear somebody saying horrible things about me, all I think is, well, if they only really knew me, they would realize I'm way worse than that.
Yeah, that's right. That's
like, that's nothing.
Yeah. And it's kind of funny how that's helped me, certainly. And it's nice. You've got a kind of team around you. It's nice to sound things off. When you're doing it as an individual, you really have to kind of say, okay, and you really need to learn how to deal with some kind of brutal things that do.
Right.
If you respond, as you quite rightly say, in a human way, if you admit to your vulnerabilities, I think if you get aggressive and try to be smart-ass with these people, it's not going to do you any good. You just need to learn how to process it.
Yeah, I think there's a couple versions of like
the whiskey community is very good.
Yeah. No. So what I found, and I sort of missed this, but when we first started, we had our first negative interactions all came from people who thought we were reviewing whiskey. I mean, and let's be honest, we say we are, but you know, that's not our thing. And there were so many other better review channels, and we hadn't really done our homework to like study the environment. We weren't watching whiskey YouTube channels, and I wasn't trying to start a YouTube channel. I was trying to start a resource for the songs, and it was just it was easier to do it on YouTube than anywhere else. So that just happened by accident. But once we got through the first burst of people going like, what the fuck, dude, who are these jokers? In the first 1,000 subscriber range, up to about 1,000, the community was like 98% astoundingly gracious and connected and wanting to talk. And when we replied, and I used to reply to every comment.
Yes.
And because it was like, oh my God, people are watching and talking, and holy crap. And I really miss that. There's no way. I had to walk away from that because I just couldn't keep up.
Yeah.
And I felt bad about responding to one person and not to 700 other. And I was burning out. I was getting burned out so fast. But every time we gather the YouTubers around, anytime we got together and did streams, anytime we leave in the comments, this is still true. Vast majority of the YouTube whiskey community is amazing, and I'm grateful to be a part of it. Except for Blair Conrad. I'm just kidding.
Except for Jimmy Legg.
Except for Jimmy Legg. Yeah. No, I'm just kidding. Because Jimmy's out here, isn't he?
Oh yeah, Jimmy's
okay. I wasn't looking at the comments. I was hoping he is.
Jimmy's a wonderful guy. In fact, there are some parts of the culture building around this channel, and I'm sure it's the same as your channel. It's not something that you design. It's something that the community brings along, and some of it is from Jimmy. He'll say things like, "This is an asshat question," and now if there's a horrible question in the quiz at the end, it's an asshat question. It's stuck. And I'm an asshat. The question's an asshat question, and it's become a thing. And that's kind of nice. And I've certainly culture is one of the big things you've been able to tap into as well.
Yeah. And we've let that sort of grow around. Same thing. You find something that someone's doing that's cool, you honor it, and people either get behind it or don't. If they don't get behind it, then it's just a cool moment. If they do get behind it, new thing.
I've got some questions to ask you from the community, actually. Some people sent in a couple of questions.
Yeah.
When we talk about that nervousness that's out there quickly first, I think we would just want to get out there at the get-go that video, you need to either agree or disagree with me on this.
Oh, okay.
Video can never, ever be a replacement for human interaction.
Oh, no.
It can only be a temporary stand-in or some way to enhance or augment.
Yeah,
and if you treat it as a way to replace people, personnel, or the events, the tastings, club nights, the festivals, the distilleries, the visitor centres, whatever it may be, if you try and use video to replace that, you're going to hit the buffers fast. You're not. You agree, right?
Absolutely. I mean, it's not even. There's no discussion around that. That's just true.
Unfortunately, if you're looking at industry, and they're running numbers, and they hold a tasting and they get 30 people in the room and 3 people buy a bottle, and they're hoping 20 people go off and be brand ambassadors for that product in the future, that have bought in, they love the product and they might buy it in the future. That's what they get from a room full of tasting that they might perceive. That's how they perceive it. And then they look at a YouTube broadcast, thousands of people watching on the replay, hundreds of people, maybe in your case, thousands of people joining in the live streams. Suddenly they say, oh, wait, we're doing it wrong. And they want to migrate the whole business model.
God, no. Because look, we can have thousands of people watching a live stream and the resulting purchase cycle is not even close to the high level impact of a human being connecting with another human being in person, shaking their hand, clinking glasses and being like, I'm going to drink this forever. Because of the day I hung out with Simon Brooking, who's maybe one of the best ambassadors on the damn planet. And I'll drink Lafroig forever now because of Simon Brooking. It's like, you can't replace that.
Absolutely. It's the human connection. It can never, ever be replaced. And the virtual thing that we offer is elevated by the promise of that real connection at some point in the future. The idea that I could get to know Daniel Whittington in video and then one day hang out with him at the vault, at the academy, wherever it may be, it's made all the more special because one of us knows the other one because we've been watching them on YouTube. I'm drinking something before I answer the questions. Do you have none left? Are you out?
No, I'm out. I've got the new bottling, but I don't have the old one anymore. I drank the very last of it 2 months ago. That was the last of it.
I owe some of it.
Yeah.
Slancha. We both love this.
I am drinking the Texas Whiskey Trailblazer selection of Balcones single malt.
Oh, wow.
So 64%. Woo, dang.
Oh, wow.
Forgot about that.
Balcones don't mess around. I've got some Balcones hanging around. I tried their peated when I was over in Texas last year.
Mm-hmm.
That'll make
That's
the Scotch
meaty.
industry sit up, right? It definitely
It's meaty.
will. It's a good one.
Yeah.
Are you okay for a couple of questions from the community?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Hey, can I say, though, one thing that we always talk about that you might use for so we're always teaching small businesses on long-term identity branding, that if you're trying to win the click war, like when they Google search you, if that's where you're trying to win customers, you're already screwed. It's way too late, right? That's a last-second battle, and that just goes to whoever has the highest dollars for ad spend. What you want to do is already have them in love with you before they go looking for what you need, right? So it's like the one day they finally need your product, then you're who pops into their mind. That's top of mind awareness, right? And so one of the things that we always found is that when a big company works with us and we really achieve in a mass market radio and sometimes TV, but mostly radio, big branding campaign at about 6 months in, when it really starts exploding, all of the cost of the digital advertising goes down by half. And it always happens. And so all of a sudden, there's all these people who are looking for you, right? And so all of a sudden they're finding you. All the ad spend actually goes down. Now, inevitably, the digital weasels who run your digital marketing all want to take credit for how their brilliant online marketing strategy is really working, but they're completely negating the fact that digital is riding the wave that mass market advertising built and through, right? And so I think the same thing is true with in-person to video or in-person to social media. Social media can really work.
Yep.
But only if it's built on the back of actual connected relationship first. Yeah. It is astronomically hard. It's possible, but it's astronomically harder to build the same kind of intimacy and emotional connection on only digital.
Yeah, that's what social media has become a little bit dangerous in the fact that, you know, our friendship bubbles, the fact that we could connect using technology was amazing. But then suddenly we were friends with a bunch of people that we'd never ever met. And they're not friends, they're just connections. They're just, we might meet in the future. And I think that all kind of, because brands were nervous about video, I think that they're coming a bit late to these kind of concepts. And it will dawn on them quite quickly that these people, they're smart and they know how to analyze things and work it out quite quickly. But I think that what it would be fantastic to do now is to have brands step in and new creators to the platform. Let's be honest. I mean, I'm just a brand aggregator. Let's if we were to distill.
Yeah, we're DJs.
Yeah, that's right. We're just bringing this stuff and we're sharing it. And some stuff we love sharing, other stuff we kind of don't feel we want to share. And there's other things in the middle, but that's really what we do. So anybody that's going to come and do what we're doing, they have to follow the same rules as the brands.
Right.
And my filter is, I shared with you that kind of 3 C's thing. The content, it has to be good quality content. It cannot be an advertisement. You know, the collaboration, you need to realize you're not the only guy doing it. Don't pretend that you are.
I'm tired of the marketing materials that say, you know, we take grain and then we distill it into this golden elixir. And it's like, well, you just described whiskey. Why do we even waste time talking about that?
Yeah, absolutely. Find layers of value. Find ways of adding value to a USP is not enough unless there's a value to it. The people need to understand what a unique selling point means to them. And it's the same for any video creator that's coming along as well. Just to do what we're doing, they need to find the same themes. And the 3rd C, community, that's not your community, building your community. Think about making stuff that you would want to watch if you were on the other side.
Right. Yeah, and be vulnerable. Son of a bitch.
Yeah.
So there's a thing about USPs. I'm a little allergic to that word, and it's no one's fault. It's just Roy, who founded the school at Wizard Academy, we always talk about this, but it's the statement is there's no such thing as a USP. period. There's no such thing as a unique selling proposition. There's no such thing. If it was truly valuable, everyone would be doing it. And if it's truly unique, it's only going to be yours for about 2 months before everyone realizes it's valuable, right? So for an industry that's been around for any length of time, there's no longer any such thing as a unique selling proposition. The only thing you have that's unique is the personality and culture behind your brand. That's it, right? So you don't uniquely serve the whiskey population. You're uniquely you, and you make whiskey. And so if brands can understand that the unique selling proposition for them is just letting people know who they are, as opposed to trying to say we solve something no one in the world solves. It's like, well, not really, you know. And the fight for a unique selling proposition in your whiskey bottle it smacks of disproportionate focus. Like you took one little tiny thing that you do a little differently. Yeah, but is it that big of a deal? Not as big of a deal as you make it, you know? Like, so no, I'd rather know who you are.
Based on that, for you then, one of the huge values to come out of this thing that we're going through just now, this explosion, would be for it being a way for the community, the people out there, the potential customers, let's say, the potential viewers, the potential subscribers, to get to know the human. That's the thing that's happening here.
Become human.
Yeah, the human element. And when you talk about culture and when you talk about personality, you're talking about human values.
Right.
It's nothing. The technology is amazing and it's a great thing that we have. We're fortunate, but it can never, ever replace people.
How often have I got behind a brand that I wasn't necessarily in love with, but then I met the people and I was like, oh, these are my people.
This brand is suddenly much more attractive.
All of a sudden it's like, I really want this to be good.
And you know, that's interesting. You mentioned Scotch Test Dummies. Scott from the Scotch Test Dummies. He was over in Islay with me last year. We went to Islay together. He loved Bunnahabhain, and we took him to Bunnahabhain. Now he really loves Bunnahabhain. He's already, because every time he sees that name, he's got that warm wash of the memories and the things that he enjoyed when he was there.
And you remember spaces and
the people, how he felt, how he relaxed, the whiskies that he tried, all of it. And if we, one of the biggest things that day was getting to know the people, hanging out with the people, getting to know the story behind it. And when you meet people face to face and not through technology, not through print, not through written pieces, you get the truth, and they admit things to you. They show their vulnerabilities. They tell you the weak points, and then they're
wide open. And they're so kind so often.
Yeah.
Right? Like they're just so, and they're just freakishly generous, you know? I love it.
They are.
And then you just want to do everything you can for them. Yeah, I've said multiple times, we're now getting to the point, Rex and I have talked about this. There's going to be a day at which we're going to have to change our entire model, because us talking about whiskey, we're going to know too many people and there's no possible way we could say anything but like, it's going to be hard to shit on Iron Root because I freaking love those guys like brothers. Right. So even if they made something I didn't like, it would be like, well, it's not my favorite.
But you know, people pick up the subtleties. They understand. They start. They get to know you as the human. They understand your language, the language you use when you're super excited and passionate about something. And the other thing, when you accept that it's just a good whiskey and it can't be much more. Another thing that you guys have nailed as well. I have to take my hand off to you, because the collaboration thing, as soon as you moved away from your non-profit vault channel, of course, once the Whiskey Tribe was set up, Crowded Barrel, you had the bar set up there, everything. You started to collaborate with other creators. You collaborated with that amazing festival you put together with all the Texas whiskey producers, inviting what should be theoretical competitors into your space, to share their products with your community, and then understand that everyone benefits.
Yeah, that's, by the way, still freaking people out. Like still, even in the Texas industry, like all these brands have come to me separately and they're like, wait, you guys invited like all of the other distilleries to your place and they were pouring free whiskey at your distillery? And I was like, yeah. We only had one whiskey and it was sourced from MGP. What were we going to do? It's like, no, here, have some more Indiana bourbon. It sat in Texas for 6 months, which totally changed it, but it doesn't matter. And it's like, you want some actual Texas whiskey right over there.
I worked for a very successful sales company for 20 years. We were very good at selling, but not our own brand. We were good at selling other people's brands.
That's a very short term.
Yeah, but that's the thing, is we bought and sold. So my CEO always knew that the brands of the people he represented was more powerful than his brand. But that got him in front of people, and then he used that to sell the people-to-people thing.
Isn't there an old Christmas movie that's all about that? It's not like Miracle on 30. It's one where Santa works at the mall for part of and there's a whole scene where someone comes up to ask him, where in the mall can we find this? He's like, oh, well, down the street in 2 blocks, there's this other place. And then the owners of the mall or the department store are like, you can't send people away from the department store, but it works like gangbusters. And by the end of the movie, it's this new policy where all the employees are sending customers to other stores if they don't have it,
Jason Unsworth, our friend Jason, we both know Jason, he's come out and said, Miracle on 34th Street.
Miracle on 30. It was Miracle. Okay, yeah.
You're right. Excellent. And it's exactly like that. And it would scare you. Scotch whiskey is very traditionalist. It's very conservative still. Yeah. There's a lot of the people in charge still haven't grasped a lot of these kind of more modern, wonderful concepts, quite honestly. And it would not surprise you to hear some of the stories that I could share about how that very thing has happened.
Dude,
it's beyond acceptable.
My experience in distilleries, at least in Texas, and is that inside of the distilleries, and when it comes to the inner workings, they all play really well together. It's like, oh, you need some barley, we can hook you up. Oh, you know what? We ran into this. We had a machine break and we're down. Another distillery is like, look, you can borrow our mash. We have a portable mash that's smaller. You can borrow that one while you're trying to, they all work really well together. And then they go to sell things, and it's like they forget all of that value. And they're like, okay, that's fine. But now that we're selling things, screw all of you. Right? Yeah. It's like, but there's no value to that.
It's the destruction of a product by the application of a brand. As soon as there's a brand put on something, the teeth come out. It doesn't need to be like that. It really doesn't.
No, and it really doesn't.
There are 2 markets as well. There's a market that buys a bottle of whiskey, and they only buy another one when that one's empty.
Right.
And then there's the markets like us, who fill our houses.
No, and I'm saying, like, look, if I had to choose, a bottle today, it's not like, well, that's the end of the road for the other brands. Like, no, I'm coming back tomorrow.
Yeah. The passion is always finding the next experience, like so many things in life. And when whiskey sits in that realm, I think that's a very important part of the dynamic.
I always try to talk to the marketing guys and say, look, do you only ever listen to one band ever? Like just one musical artist?
Yeah.
Like you listen to Van Morrison, and that is all. You will never listen to another musical artist ever. It's like, no one works that way. It's not how it works. You listen to Van Morrison when you're in the mood for Van Morrison, and then sometimes you listen to AC/DC, right?
Exactly that.
So whiskey guys need to understand that's the market they're actually in.
I once had to describe my whiskey habit to my wife's friend, and she really couldn't understand why I needed so many variations of whiskey at home in my house. And she wasn't getting the flavor thing, the experience thing. And I said to her, how many pairs of shoes do you have? And can you wear one pair for all the same purpose? Yeah.
No.
It's a similar thing. Listen, there's over 400 people in tonight.
Oh,
that
cool.
must be the Daniel effect.
There's no way, man.
we almost broke 400 when we had Ralphie on, and we called it.
Oh,
the Ralphie
sweet.
effect. So
yeah, I watched the Ralphie one a little. That was awesome. He's so cool.
You did. He's a gent, isn't he?
Yeah.
He's got an open invite to come back on anytime he wants, but it's always going to be on his terms as well. I always tell the story of when he arrived at my house. It was like Mary Poppins coming. He arrived at the door, so polite. He took his boots off, and out of his bag he brought comfortable house slippers.
Yes.
He put them on.
It was Mr. Rogers.
He didn't spend any time with me. He hung out with my wife and kids.
Yeah.
My kids said, it's very nice to meet you. It's nice to meet a real YouTuber. They said so. And then we did the stream and we agreed that 90 minutes would be a good thing, but he was enjoying himself. The community was enjoying him. I was loving having him there, and it went on for over 3 hours. But when he left, he picked up his boots and he put his boots on. He turned around, he shook my hand, and he said, "Thank you, Roy. That was really nice. I'll see you." So he turned around and he walked off like Mary Poppins leaving. It was an amazing thing. And I think the community gets so much out of that side of Ralphie that they don't normally get. It'd be amazing to do that again. Anyway, you've got some questions here. Now, I was hoping that the community would ask questions about the topic and interesting things about, video explosion and all of that.
Yeah.
But no, they are the community. So I'll ask you a couple if you don't mind, Daniel. Have you got enough time for us tonight?
Yeah, absolutely.
This is Menno. Menno's multi-mission. He's been a follower of yours since you were back down in those original 1,000 subscribers, probably. Yeah. He said, he's talking to Daniel. You're not the only producing only online content about whiskey. You're making it yourself. You're actually a whiskey producer as well. How has being involved in the distillery impacted your understanding of whiskey? And did this influence things about what you say or do on the Vault or Tribe channels? It's interesting.
The biggest impact has come from a better understanding of where the flavors are coming from. If I had to pick just one, that's it. The understanding not of just what flavors are in here, but where in the process are those flavors first appearing and then being changed later. And it cognitively, like, you study and from the mash and fermentation, these things show up. From the barrel impact, these things show up, and that. But to be able to smell and taste them at each part of the process, including just chewing a piece of grain or drinking the beer before it gets distilled. It's been really nerd exciting to go like, oh, that note that I taste in this thing is already here in the beer. And that note makes it all the way through. That's amazing. Absolutely. And then there's other notes that's like, well, I've never tasted that before. That must get distilled out or aged out by the end, So that's where it's changed it the most.
I'll just raise a glass to Pete James and say thank you for your virtual dram. Let me ask you then, Daniel, does that mean that you're able to sit to enjoy other brands and other people's whiskies and try and fathom the same thing? Obviously, you're thinking about, and you're confident then that when you get a fruitiness, the fruitiness has come from fermentation as opposed to reflux.
Yeah, absolutely. And you can't do that with every flavor profile because some of them double down or show up, and there's overlap of where they could show up, and it's complex, But I love being able to go into somebody else's whiskey that I love and go, oh, now, like I can spot a really narrow cut or a longer cut, and why, or it's easier to spot like, oh, this was a weird fermentation.
Yeah. Right.
And as a super nerdy human, that's really fun for me.
Yeah, I can imagine.
We just had this conversation actually yesterday. I tried a blind tasted a whiskey, and I pinpointed that it was Auchentoshan because I love Auchentoshan, and it does this one little thing to me that I always recognize as Auchentoshan, at least so far. And it was really bright and beautiful, but it had these other notes that I would swear it was older whiskey, except it tasted bright and fresh and almost young. And so I got stuck. I hadn't decided it was Auchentoshan yet, but I'm like, this doesn't make any sense. There are notes in here that feel old, and then there are notes in here that are bright and fresh and young. And when I realized it was an Auchentoshan 17.
17.
Yeah, and what I decided, whether it's right or not, who knows? But I think it's because Auchentoshan does that triple distillation. And so they're starting with this lighter, brighter base.
Yes,
and it maintained it all the way through to the end, even at 17 years in the barrel.
Wow.
And that was really cool.
Would that have been a special edition or a single cask or something?
Yeah, it was a single cask.
Okay,
and, But that's the kind of thing that I wouldn't have put that together on why until much later. That's
super interesting because we're not just talking about tasting whiskey and then tasting components in whiskey and elements of whiskey and differentiating whiskey, but to we actually start to taste a whiskey and fathom at which point in the production has instilled those flavors. Fascinating. I've got a question here from Graham Young as well. With the success of the two incredible channels, he's obviously a big fan, and the Crowded Barrel Distillery itself, and the bar, is the focus of the Wizard Academy shifting away from marketing school towards these ventures?
No. As a matter of fact, we had a very hard and fast rule. As soon as we realized the whiskey classes were selling out, right now, like a year to a year and a half in advance.
Wow.
We immediately drew a line and said, we will never hold more than this amount of whiskey classes ever at this school. And it will never represent more than, I think right now it is 12% of the classes that we hold. And we will never let it grow beyond that, because the Wizard Academy community, for the students, drastically bigger than the whiskey community at Wizard Academy. So any energy and growth that this consumes is going to stay focused on the distillery and the tribe. It's not going to roll over to Wizard Academy and keep, steamrolling it through.
But that's bizarrely on theme, because you're augmenting, you're not replacing, isn't it? You're enhancing the experience. It's almost like we.
If we turned Wizard Academy into a whiskey school, I would have Wizard Academy students with pitchforks and torches coming for me.
Yeah, that's right. But I mean, it's you. I mean, you came on as a wine guy, and yet you ended up sharing whiskey, and it was quite an organic thing for you to move into a whiskey space, right?
Yeah.
So I mean, that's pretty interesting in itself. That this whole thing has huge amounts of serendipity involved.
Yeah, at every level. It's shocking how much so. Yeah.
Sometimes it's nice to think that we're not in charge, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's quite liberating.
Well, we can have our intentions, but how it actually goes down is anybody's best guess.
I've had a dram in from Sachen, Kent, it looks like, and he's saying, how can I send you some bottles of whiskey, Daniel, from the UK? Listen, it's really, really tough. It's illegal, frankly, honestly. But if you ever went to where Daniel resides, you would realize that it'd be like taking rice to China. And there are probably a lot of whiskies out there for you to still explore, but it might be tough for you to get through them sometimes, right?
Yeah, my recommendation from anybody wanting to send it is thank you so much. That generosity is exactly why we exist. The best use of that whiskey is to find a couple of friends and drink it together.
And then fathom a way while you drink it how to go and visit you.
Yeah. And if you want to bring it, but I mean, we do get it in, and we will absolutely review every bottle sent to us, no matter how long it takes. Right now, we're about 6 to 8 months behind. On if I receive something today, it's not going to show up on the show until August to end of the year.
Yeah, and that's when you're putting out video content every single.
That's 5 videos a week. Yeah, for that kind of thing. Yeah.
Monday to Friday, a video drops from the vault.
That's why this is all gray. Like, did you see the photo you took for your video vPub graphic? It's all dark.
Yeah,
that was only like 6 years ago, and now look at me.
It wasn't very long ago. I was watching videos of you, and Rex wasn't involved at all. But it's probably when you just joined as the vice chancellor. And that's one of the downsides of video content. You age in front of people and in front of
you do.
Bill Dull, my friend Bill, he's hung out with you. Bill's my friend from California. He's hung out with you. Yeah, I think he had a corporate thing as well with you at the vault. He said, great to see here, Daniel. Missed him at the vault in February. Emma did a great job. Of course you would. But no one tells a story like Daniel. Have him back to give a Whiskies of the World tour. Give us the first, and we can all join in. And Ben Stahl, my friend Ben as well, another lover, the guy who fueled me with Longmorn 16 the first time I was in Texas. Ben says, any timeline on reopening of the Crowded Barrel? Ben, you can see your name here. I've actually got your question, my friend, ready to go.
Nice.
But he's asking, is there any timeline on things being reopened again, or is it still a way off?
We don't know yet. For us, I'm hesitating because here's my frustration with this whole situation. This situation has turned political, which is stupid. This is not a political situation.
It's a thing that removes politics.
Yes.
This is going to get you regardless.
Yes, but somehow the topic of whether or not you're going to open your business and pretend like everything's okay is now a political conversation, which makes it really hard to talk about without people getting totally outraged. What I will say is there's currently a rush in the US of people desperate to be the first to open. I am not interested in the Whiskey Tribe community being guinea pigs for this situation. So we will bide our time and we'll open when and how we think is reasonable once it feels like the information is in our corner for we're not going to be responsible for harming any of you. At this point, at the end of May is probably the earliest I could think of, but it's anyone's best guess what happens next because the Texas just opened everything up as of Friday on a limited basis, but that's still enough to flood the environment with humans. So we'll see what happens.
Yeah, and as all of these little changes come along, unfortunately with this thing, it's taken a week to 2 weeks before we even see any impact of these even subtle changes. Peter Hunt has just bought a dram as well and apologising for being late. Peter, there's no such thing as being late on YouTube. I think it's one of the great things about YouTube as well, Daniel. Even when we make a live stream, we contribute to an asset library that stays searchable.
Yeah.
Very, very powerful search engine forever.
How many times have you gone in your analytics and divided the amount of minutes people have watched your videos into years? Have you ever done that?
No.
Oh, it's disturbing.
Really?
Like, how many years of people's lives have been spent watching you on camera?
Well,
like
there would be a marked difference between our channels, but
but I'm telling you, go do it sometime. Look at the minutes spent watching on your YouTube videos in 1 year, and then do the math to break that into years of time, and it's shocking.
The responsibility. if you're going to steal minutes from people's lives,
yes, provide value.
We have to make it as good as we can. Whiskey Crusaders, Matt Zittrick, you star. He said, cheers to the two of my favourite people in the world of whiskey.
Yeah,
can't wait till the Bastards Ball again this year. Matt, thank you so much. Thank you for your dram. Thanks to Peter. Thanks to Bill. Thanks to everybody. I missed somebody else as well. I'm going to catch them. Ben. Thanks to everybody that's buying us a little dram as well. Slanchin, you're very well. There's a couple of more questions here. How much time do I have with you? Are you okay?
I can go for at least another 20 minutes. How about that?
No problem at all. This ties into a question that came in on one of the super chats as well.
Okay.
The question for Daniel. Texan or federal legislation, oh God, this could be a rabbit hole, on whiskey can be quite complex and weird, not to say outdated. If there was one thing you could alter, what would it be?
Direct ship to consumer. That's it. Direct ship to consumer. That's it. I don't care about anything else.
You have a lot of advantages where you live. You really do. But I think that it's claustrophobic when it comes to enjoying a product like whiskey. I can literally order from Alexa and she'll deliver the next morning whiskey. Well, we have wonderful auction sites and online sites and things. And we do have freedom here, and distilleries will ship direct to us from their online stores.
Remember that the culture around alcohol in the US is a completely different animal. And just like, COVID got tied into politics, alcohol got tied into religion in the US and morals. And once that happened, then it became very easy for politicians to use it as a moral platform stance. And that dates all the way back to Prohibition. And it's still... Yep. Prohibition never actually ended in the U.S. Not really. So what actually happened, if you read the laws, the law repealing Prohibition simply said it's the state's problem. That's the short version. It didn't say no more Prohibition. It said the feds are no longer going to prohibit alcohol or enforce prohibition of alcohol. The states can do whatever they want. And so every state came up with their own plan. And now they're all, and there's about somewhere in the mid-20s on the different ways of handling alcohol across the 50 states. It's just a rat's nest of bullshit. And
do you think if there was a modification shipping from producer direct to consumer, do you think that that's never going to happen, or do you think that there's a possibility it could happen?
It'll happen. Here's when it'll happen. It'll happen when the money behind making it happen is bigger than the money behind stopping it. For politicians and lobbyists, that's when it'll happen. So when somebody like Amazon decides, screw this, we want to direct shipped alcohol, and they go to bat in Texas, that's when it happens. Until then, all the money is on the package store side, who are trying desperately to keep makers from getting to the consumer without using them.
It's interesting. I mean, it exists. That still exists here, but the scale of that package store thing in the States is it's amazing. I mean, the size of it is amazing. Wonderful stuff. So get back on topic, Daniel, to kind of summarizing things and oh, nice. It's the Icor.
This is the Icor. Yeah.
All I have for
Josh Galladay gave me this, I think.
No, I tried that.
Oh yeah. There you go.
This is the signed bottle.
Yeah.
This is the prototype bottle.
There we go.
It doesn't even have the label on the back. What do you have on the?
I don't have the back either.
No label on the back. No. But this is empty. This was like one of the original bottles. It was signed.
Well, look, you've got Longmorn, I've got Icor, so
yeah,
fair.
We're good. But that was amazing. Absolutely amazing.
Yeah.
I love sharing the Iron Root stuff and things over here. I really do. It's quite eye-opening. I'm going to have Chad and Sarah on the channel. I think it's going to be next week. Yeah, they're going to lead me through bourbon. They're going to take
those guys. Those guys, if they keep going, here's what I want to see. I want to see Chad and Sarah be the Chip and Joanna Gaines of the whiskey community. Right?
Yeah, I don't even understand. Who are they?
You wouldn't, but all of the Americans will know exactly what I'm talking about. There's a show called Fixer Upper that has like taken over the world on HGTV, and it's Chip and Joanna Gaines, this married couple in Waco, Texas, and they're everyone's darling, right? And they just completely built an empire off of the two of them renovating houses and selling them, and and I keep thinking like, man, I want to see Chad and Sarah reach that level of world domination as like this generally loved and admired and fun whiskey couple.
Well,
I think they can do it.
If we add the human element that we've been talking about into it, they are gorgeous people. They are
it doesn't hurt.
Endearing,
yeah. Although Sarah's beard is terrible. Yeah, she's gonna have to work on that.
Kilco, that's Brian. He's saying happy to have others to talk whiskey with. He's giving us a wave and buy me a dram. Cheers, Brian. Cheers, Kilco, my friend. And Mark Slinger is saying, Roy, that first gathering tasting we had in Glasgow was special, but the dram of the day was the Iron Root for me. He remembers it.
Yes.
The Scotch Michael is saying, yeah, we had an epiphany tasting in Glasgow. Everything was tasted blind, and then as people were tasting it and sipping it and they made up their mind, just simply whether they liked it or not, we revealed what it was. There was lots of fantastic whiskey shared that day, but the one that made people sit up and pay attention was Iron Root. Well,
there's a reason they won best bourbon in the world.
But the age statement on the bottle was 23 months old.
Welcome to Texas, my friends.
It was absolutely amazing. You could see that kind of when you revealed that kind of suction of air in the room, everybody going, oh, like this.
Yeah. How could you even? That's not even legally whiskey here.
Exactly. Thanks, Mark. I'm glad you enjoyed that Iron Root. Unfortunately, Iron Root is really next to impossible for us to get. The Legation, Berry Brothers do a product called Legation, which is Iron Root, but we can't get our hands on the Iron Root product yet. I'm sure they're working on it. No,
I'm guarantee you that'll change.
Good. I'm looking forward to that.
Yeah. At some point.
Daniel, tell us about. Do you think this thing is going to continue? Is it jeopardizing the Bastard's Ball this year, or are you going to head full tilt? Or
it's possible. We're going to wait until the absolute last second. So we probably won't make the call. It's supposed to be in September. We'll probably make the call in early August.
Okay. It's quite late. Yeah.
Just to see. Because again, our worst nightmare is that we cause harm at an event that's supposed to be bringing people together for community. So yeah.
Absolutely.
We'll see.
And I think And I think this thing has still to reveal its full colours, unfortunately. Cliff Smith, thank you so much for your dram. Cliff is saying, here's to another excellent vPub. Cheers. Cheers, Cliff. Thank you so much. Yeah. Later tonight as well, just to everybody that's on, later tonight, there's a whole kind of whiskey tube thing going on. I'm going to stay on for a little while and jump onto the Scotch 4 Dummies stream. They're actually having a whiskey tuber gathering. Folk are getting together. The Scotch, I think Scott from Scotch Taste Dummies is going to join in. Whiskey She Wines is there. Good. Whiskey in the Six is there. The Mash and Drum is there. Who else is there? Man. I'm going to forget everyone. It's just going to be a bit of a little kind of whiskey tuber celebration. I'm going to hang on for a bit later tonight, go to bed a bit later and help kick that off with them. And then later after they go out, Trenny and C are going to be doing their own thing as well. Although for us, it'll be the very early hours of the morning. I think it's going out at close to midnight, actually, Eastern, around 11:30 midnight Eastern, the Trenny and C. So there's lots of things to keep you active if you're on a time zone that is conducive to hanging out with more whiskey folk. The so-called dram team has just bought me a dram saying, here's hoping the Bastards Ball will still go ahead. Cheers.
Yeah, cheers.
I absolutely agree to that. That's probably Matt that's in tonight. I hope. We all keep our fingers crossed, not just for the Bastards Ball, if you don't mind me saying, but for everything, for everyone, for life.
Absolutely.
To come back to normal, some form of normal. I do have a couple of more questions here, but I think we've covered most of them. Let's finish with this one from Menno. He's saying, a lot of the decisions made by the Crowded Barrel are made with the say-so of your patrons. That's exactly the function of it, right? Yep. This also means letting go of control to a certain extent. Is that difficult?
No, because we don't know anything else. So if we had started normal and then we started letting people make decisions, then the human psychological aversion to loss of control would have been terrifying, right? But we started that way from the beginning. We were never under any illusions that this was a vanity project or that we were just going to be in it to make it. It's like, no, the only reason this place exists is for these people to make decisions. So it is definitely, there have been moments where there were things I would have liked, but the tribe voted differently.
Yes.
But they've never voted into something that I didn't
Every
like.
poll I've ever voted on, that has been a dynamic.
Yeah. And every time not every time, there's sometimes I've felt like, oh, all right. Yeah. But we've never landed on anything that I disliked. Right. And inevitably the decisions that we've made, looking back on them, I'm like, that's so cool. I'm glad we're doing that. You know, the funniest thing is anytime we're talking to any other whiskey makers, and they hear what we do. Yeah. And the terror in their eyes. It's like, you do what? You let people, what? How, what? How could you? What if they? Yeah, it's just, that's terrifying to them. And we just don't know any other way. So.
But when you have nothing and you're creating something, create it together, is there? I mean, if you're protecting a legacy product, fine, I can understand.
Yeah.
But you're not. You're just, and you're called the Crowded Barrel because you are crowd funded.
Yes, we are.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. What kind of hubris would it be if we got all these people built this future and then we were like, it's ours now?
Yeah. Yeah. You don't get to choose anymore.
Yeah. Yeah.
You guys are rubbish at choosing.
We're done with that whole thing. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Fantastic. Listen, I'm going to finish off by sharing some, and it's very, you know, I don't think I'll be judged for the nice things I want to say about you now, because I think I think it's pretty obvious for everyone to see. If we live in a community where we're consuming whiskey by video, I think it's we've always had these people. Horst started in 2007. Whiskey.de. He's one of the first. 13 years ago, started to share video. Ralphie came along and just garnered such a community around him. People were always ready to follow in video, but for a long time, there weren't many people willing to step up and attempt it.
Right.
But when you guys did it, serendipity or otherwise, it blew the doors off. And I have to say, the product that we are left with, we are all, as creators and whiskey lovers, very grateful to have you. Because you do bring whiskey with educational licks, you do bring genuine sharing, and you always It's responsible. You always do dry weeks. You do everything. So if you're going to have anybody doing what you're doing, I'm glad it's you and Rex. Seriously. And I'll raise a glass to you, Daniel, and say thank you. I know I've thanked you before, but I'll thank you here in front of everyone. Thank you.
Cheers, sir.
Cheers. Now, I know that you said that you were under time constraints tonight.
Wait. You know, with a weakness, this is the single biggest weakness of not being able to drink in person together. I keep seeing bottles behind you that I'm not getting to try.
And anytime that's happened to me when we have been together, I've been in the vault and I've had access to all of those bottles.
Mm-hmm.
If you ever find your feet on my soil,
these
bottles are yours.
Oh yeah.
Okay.
I'll be showing up with an empty Glencairn and a thirsty palate.
The rest of it, that's the hard part. The rest of it, don't worry about it. Listen, I hope to raise a glass with you soon. If it's Texas, fantastic.
Yeah.
Wherever it's going to be, it doesn't really matter. I know you could only give us a short time today. I'm very, very grateful that you took time out your working day to hang out with us. I know that so many of the community will be too. It's wonderful to have you, Daniel. And I'm looking forward to seeing where you take this thing, honestly. I think it's amazing.
Us too.
More than anything, it's good fun, honestly. If you want to stay for the quiz, you're very welcome. But I understand.
What's the quiz? That's
quiz?
right. That quiz. Yes. Okay.
There's always we always close a vPub out
yes.
at the end. It's become a thing.
Now I remember. Yes.
And I'm always kind of making questions, and I'm always like, it's hard work to come up with original questions all the time. But if I ever killed the quiz, there would be mutiny. You talked about mutiny and revolt, didn't you? The same thing.
Yeah.
I will say that the quiz has been curated tonight very much with the Whiskey Tribe in mind. But that's in no way intended to bully you into staying. You stay if you
No. How long does the quiz? Because my memory of the quiz is it can take anywhere from 5 to like 30 minutes, depending on the questions.
That's about right.
Yeah.
So you stay for the first few, and then you stay. If you're not doing well, you can pull a parachute and leave.
Oh, that's the plan. The moment I'm not doing well, I'm out of here.
I'm gonna bring in some other barflies, some other magnificent bastards that do follow you to join us.
Do it.
And they'll be participating as well. And I will try and tear through this as quickly as I can. Jean de la Cuisine, you star. Aquavita and the Whiskey Vault have fueled my whiskey journey. Keep it up, guys. He's bought me a drum.
Aye.
Thank you, John. Thank you so much. Actually, the irony there is it's people like Jean de la Cuisine that is fueling their own whiskey journey through us. Okay, let's bring this quiz in. And let's bring in the other barflies in the background. Tom Goosens, fantastic, Tom. Good to see you still in there. Also
that's a good looking dude. Got a fancy sweater and a trumpet behind him. I'm feeling.
That's Miles Davis's trumpet.
Yeah.
Hopla. Let's see. We see them a little bit better. We've also got Menno in the bottom center wearing the recycled shirt. Fantastic, Menno. And we've got Harrow on the left-hand side. Well, just under me. Would that be right where everyone is? Welcome in, everybody. Yeah. Good luck for the quiz. I'm going to try and tear through this as quickly as I can tonight. Thank you so much to everybody that's joined in. Still so many of you watching. Hope you have a bit of fun. Remember, you're keeping your own scores. You're only playing against yourself. It's multiple choice. It's just for fun. Even if you guess, you've got a 1 in 3 chance, the same as the chimps. Okay, question 1. You will spot a theme tonight. The Whiskey Vault episode 2 from December 2016 was notable. In what way? What way was it notable? A, it wasn't a whiskey review. B, Daniel didn't appear. Or C, Rex appeared for the first time. Whiskey Jason from Germany is driving the chat. Thank you, Jason. So give me a nod, Daniel, if you know the answer to this.
Well, I have the answer that's funniest, and that's the one I want to be true.
Okay. So you're not absolutely sure.
No.
I'll not ask everyone their answers all the time. I'll just randomly drop in. Menno, do you know the answer to this one? Do you think? Don't tell me quite yet.
I think I have an idea.
Okay, good. Well, I can tell you that the crowd absolutely think by a huge majority that it's something. Daniel, what do you think?
I can't remember when Rex showed up, But I think the funniest answer is that it wasn't a whiskey review. And so I'm going with that one.
I can tell you reviewed The Irishman.
Oh, damn it.
And I can tell you that it was Menno.
I think C, and I think it pretty much went downhill from there.
I love that answer.
Well done, Menno. Absolutely. C. Rex appeared for the first time. It's great fun to go back and watch that video. He's quite coy. He's reserved. He's almost like a shaken champagne bottle just waiting to be uncorked.
You know what I realized? I realized why my memory of that is wrong is because I did all of the Christmas Advent calendar before we started doing Whiskey Vault episodes. And so to me, Whiskey Vault episode 2 is like episode 26.
Correct. But the video labeled
Whiskey
Vault episode 2.
No, yeah, it's totally right.
You'd done The Irishman on episode 1, a different expression.
Yeah.
And then you pulled a little chair alongside and brought Rex in for episode 2. Okay, question 2. Which producer released an expression in 2015 called the Heelin? The Heelin being Scots for the Highlander. Was it A, Glenglassaugh, B, Benriach, or C, Glendronach? Now owned by Brown-Forman, all 3 brands. But which one of these in 2015 first released the Heelin? I can tell you if it helps anyone, but it's a single-digit age statement. I love the fact that they brought it out, had a young age on it. They put the age statement up front. They called it the Heelin, which would probably what they would have called it if they went with non-age statement. They gave us great presentation. It's a great price. And it's a great whiskey. Which producer brought that to us? Tom Goosens, do you have a good idea?
That'll have to be a C, Glendronach. It's the 8 years old.
I have to say the crowd is almost unanimously agreeing with you. I told you it's going to be an easy one tonight.
I poured that one yesterday.
I heard that before. Yeah.
Isn't it a great dram? 8 years old. Nice and grippy and jaggy when you first open it, but it rounds out to be an excellent whiskey for money. And any producer that brings out something like that and puts an age statement up front deserves to be applauded. Fantastic stuff. Question 3. The Whiskey Vault's most watched video covers which topic? This is not the tribe. This is the Vault.
Vault. Okay.
Actually, no, I've made a mistake here. This is actually the tribe, I think. Let me double check.
Tribe. Okay, because if it's the Vault, I know exactly what it is.
No, it's the tribe. You're screwed. It's the tribe.
Oh.
I'm sorry, it's my mistake. I'm actually talking about the tribe.
Okay, well, because look, the PewDiePie video was Vault.
So it could be the Vault then.
Yeah, if it's Vault, I know the answer. I'm not even going to vote on this one. I mean, verbally, anyway.
Okay, good. I can tell you it's the Vault. It's my mistake.
Okay.
I am right in the quiz. Thinking about it now. The Vault.
How long have you been drinking that Longmorn 16?
Well, it's not how much I've been drinking the Longmorn 16. It's how little time I have in a day to put together a quiz and then try and remember there's usually at least one question I give away or get back to front. It doesn't matter. But I think I'm right. It's the Whiskey Vault. Daniel, I'm glad you're here.
All right.
I'm going to reach down to Harrow and ask if he would know. Have you any idea? Shake your head if you...
Yes, I know one.
Oh, you know? Okay, good. I think this could be a banana skin. Honestly, I think this could be a banana skin. The crowd are almost unanimously saying C again. Daniel, do you know what your most watched video on the Vault covers?
It's definitely the beginners.
It's Beginner's Whiskey.
Yeah, the PewDiePie is third.
Yes.
Yeah.
The first is Beginner's Whiskey. Second is Best Value Whiskey. And third is the PewDiePie. And the Beginner's Whiskey, this is very interesting to me. The Beginner's Whiskey video is first by a margin of probably twice the second place.
Yeah, I'm pulling up the numbers right now. It's 1.8 million views.
And second place
on that video. Second place is 900,000.
There you go. So that tells you exactly the audience that you're attracting. It's perfect.
Yeah, absolutely.
Excellent. So anybody that answered A, banana skin emojis coming up in the chat all over the place. People are going to believe about that one, but it just goes to prove a point. The PewDiePie thing was obviously a big thing when it came out, but the Vault have gone on to show who the real audience actually is. 4, the peating level specification of Bamor malt is what? Speaking about the peating level of the malted barley, of course, A, is it 15 to 18 parts per million, B, 25 to 30, or C, 35 to 38. All of these bands are much lower than the Lagavulins, the Ardbegs. We know that Bamor is a softer peat, but how soft actually is it? 15 to 18, 25 to 30, 35 to 38. My God, this crowd, they are amazing. We have a knowledgeable crowd.
That's a tough one.
It is a tough one, honestly. I'm gonna go to Thomas Vervoort. Thomas, I'm going to ask: Would you stab a guess at this, or do you know it?
I thought it was around 25 ppm, so I'm going for B.
You're going B, middle of the road. Menno.
I know it's low, so I was somewhere between A and B, but I'm gonna go with A.
A. Okay, Daniel, what would you do? Throw a dart?
I'm going B. I wrote down B.
B. Okay. I can tell you that Bamor's malt is actually 25 to 30 ppm.
Yes.
Well done, guys. Well done. We often think that it's softer than that. I think I've seen it touted around that it's 15, 18, but 25 to 30 is their specification. Question 5.
Wait, can I just say I'm disproportionately excited about getting things right.
Listen, it's good fun, and it's that's the idea is that the questions, even the tricky ones, are supposed to provoke curiosity. But this one, I'm going to say, this is what I used, the artwork I used for the thumbnail of tonight's video topic.
Oh, nice.
On there, yeah. And I stole this. It's a screen grab from another creator, friends of the channel. I want to ask what channel I stole this artwork from.
Oh, no.
Was it A, the Mash and Drum, B, Whiskey in the Six, or C, Whiskey Mystery? I'm going to tell you as a clue that it was the first ever whiskey video that they ever put out. They bought a bottle of whiskey and they went out to YouTube to try and discover details about it and details about Whiskey Beyond.
Oh, this is tough.
And this is what they did. They looked at YouTube for opinion, and you can see Daniel's there, Rex is there, Ralphie, Scotch for Dummies, Horst, Trenny and C. You can see Food Quick. You can see Top Whiskies, Whiskey Dictionary Bill. You see so many of us there. I'm even there with standing out next to my recycle bin, right? But what channel? And I can tell you that the crowd have got this nailed. Do you guys have it nailed? I'll start up at the top. Tom?
Yeah, I'm going for C because I don't have a clue, actually.
Anybody know this?
Mm.
Menno knows this.
I'm blindly guessing, so don't go off of mine.
Daniel, what would you say?
All right, I'm going to go Mash and Drum.
It's Whiskey Mystery. Phil and Deepa
like
out in California and San Francisco. And they went on to, that video was 24 whiskies that they bought and blind tasted. Fascinating video. Absolutely
right,
fascinating.
I'm writing wrong next to my name here.
Good. You have to be fallible in some way. Question 6. Who was once one of the heavyweight top 5 malt brands? Which of these was once one of the heavyweight top 5? I'm not going back a long time. I'm only going back about 20 years. Either A, Tomatin, B, Glengrant, or C, Glenfarclas. Literally, were constantly in the top 5. At one point, they were the number 2 best-selling malt globally. Was it A, Tomatin, B, Glengrant, or C, Glenfarclas? The only person to stop this distillery getting to the top spot was, of course, Grant's Glenfiddich. Fascinating or not, Daniel?
I have always been amazed at Glenfarclas's ability to market themselves and showing up on airplanes and things like that, surprisingly. I'm going to go with that one.
Okay. I can tell you that the crowd is right again. Anybody want to disagree with Daniel?
I should be looking at the comments. Can you cheat by looking at the comments?
Of course you can. You're only playing against yourself.
I need to log on. Hang on.
Anybody want to disagree with Daniel?
I'm going to go with the crowd and say B.
Oh, the crowd said B.
Yeah,
You
I
bastard.
I would say B. B.
Going with B.
The crowd said B. Glen
Oh.
Grant, absolutely.
Yeah.
They were number 2 in the late 90s. Into 2000s, they started to drop out of the top 5, and now they're sliding out of the top 10. But they are by a long margin the biggest selling malt in Italy, and they're still.
You know, in Austin, we have one Glen Grant bottling. One. That's the only one I've ever tried.
Wow. I need to remember that. I don't know how I'm going to remember that. I need to write it down. Glen Grant can be a fantastic malt. Absolutely fantastic. And when I'm over in Italy, my head office was in Italy. We used to drink it at 5 years old. 5 on the label. 5 years was written on the label. Fascinating. Question 7. According to YouTube stats, the Whiskey Tribe has garnered 17 million views. That's on the Whiskey Tribe. But what about the Whiskey Vault?
Ooh.
A, 20 million lifetime views. B, 27 million. C, 32 million. Now, we have to understand that the Whiskey Tribe, I mean, it's not exactly a 50-50 balance. I think one's just over 200,000 subs. The other one's about 280,000 subs. But the content is different over the two channels, of course. 17 million on the Whiskey Tribe cumulative views. Quite amazing, staggering stats when you think about it. But I'm going to ask, how's the Vault done? A review channel versus an entertainment channel, let's say. Crowded Barrel, community and everything versus weekly or daily through the week drops of views. What would you say, Daniel? Do you know?
This is not fair because I know the analytics. So I'm not going to say anything, but I know the answer.
Good. Any of you guys want to guess? The Netherlands, Belgium, do you want to guess?
I'm guessing C because
me too.
the Vault was so much bigger than the Tribe for a very long time, and then it caught up. So I'm guessing C.
Yeah. Good deduction. The crowd as well, for the most part,
Yeah.
seem to agree, and they think that it's 32 million views as well. Terry Dolan is in, and he's saying, I looked that up less than 10 minutes ago. Fantastic, Terry. Well done. Question 8. Buffalo Trace Distillery has not previously been known as A, the George T. Stagg Distillery, B, the Old Fire Copper Distillery, or C, the Popcorn Sutton Distillery. 2 of those answers, Buffalo Trace has previously been called. 1 of those answers, it has never been known as. Banana Skin? Perhaps. Daniel, have you any intelligence? Would you be guessing, or would you be informed guessing, or do you know this?
I'm sort of guessing. I know for a fact that George T. Stagg was one of the names. And I remember Old Fire in my brain, but I don't know why. And I don't remember Popcorn Sutton the same way. So I'm going to guess that C is the answer.
Good deduction. Anyone else want to chime in? Or
I want it to be C, so I'm going for B.
okay, so you think it was never called the Old Fire Copper Distillery? Daniel thinks it was never called the Popcorn Sutton Distillery. The crowd, again, unanimously, see, there's going to be big scores on the crowd tonight, I think, seem to think C. The Popcorn Sutton Distillery is owned by Sazerac, the same as Buffalo Trace, but it's out in Tennessee. It's in, I think, Newport, Tennessee. So
all of my bourbon drinking friends are going to be very proud of me for that moment.
You are. That's kudos for remembering that. Deduction. The Hebridean Whiskey Trail is a collaboration of 4 distilleries. On topic tonight, talking about collaboration and things, between Rassay, Harris, Torrevieque, and which other distillery in the group of 4? Is it A, Ardnamurchan, B, Tobermory, or C, Talisker? Rassay, Harris, Torrevieque, and one of these other distilleries have got together to offer this collaborative experience.
Wait, why have I never heard of the first 3?
So Rassay is Isle of Rassay. Their new product is going to come out later this year. If you tune into the virtual Lockdown Whiskey Festival, Daniel, on the 9th of May, Rassay is going to be talking about their While You Wait product and their new inaugural release. Harris is obviously on the island of Harris, another new distillery. Torrevieque is a new distillery on the island of Skye, alongside its neighbour Talisker. B, Tobermory you've heard of, and Ardnamurchan you would have heard of. Is Ardnamurchan's new, Tobermory's been there since the 18th century.
If I look up a map of Scotland, does that count as cheating?
No, because you're only playing against you.
Oh, well, in that case, I'm cheating all day long.
Yeah. There you go. So I have to say that this is a banana skin. The crowd are all over the place. And the reason that I've brought this question up is because I find it fascinating. On the northeast of Islay, they've got the northeast of Islay collaboration where they've got Ardnahoe, brand new distillery alongside Bunnahabhain and alongside Colilla, coming together to offer food and a tour and tastings over the 3 distilleries, which is fantastic to me. But the amazing thing about that is Colilla is involved, which is Diageo. How did you get Diageo to the table to do something as micro as that? It was quite a feat to pull that off. And yet it's happened here with the Hebridean Trail, because I can tell you that Talisker is the 4th piece in that pub.
I wrote Talisker because it's north of Mull, right? Skye is north of Mull.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it is, yes. Did you get it right? Well done. And it's the neighbour of Torrevake on Skye. Quite an amazing thing. Lots of scores pouring in now. I'm looking for anybody that's on 9 out of 9, and I can't see anybody so far. Klaus is crying. Somebody's upset. Some people are angry. Some people are throwing banana skin emojis at me. It's going to be easy, but
look, I'm only 6 out of 9 so far.
6 out of 9, Daniel. That's good. Tom, how's your scoring?
Yeah, 6 out of 9.
6 out of 9.
I've got a 8 out of 9.
Oh, Thomas.
Ooh.
Menno, how are you doing?
Oh, jammy bugger.
6 out of 9.
6. And finally, Harrow, how are you doing?
5 out of 9.
5? Listen, Harrow, don't worry about it. You've got a pass mark. You're on 5. You're on 5.
Hey, please tell me that you jammy bugger. Isn't that a quote from Mitchell and Webb?
No, you jammy bugger is a quote from me every single day of my life.
Really? Ah,
Everyone here says you jammy bugger. Yes.
that's amazing. I've only ever heard that from Mitchell and Webb.
You jammy bugger. Well,
You jammy bugger.
in Scotland, it would be a different B word. It would be you jammy bastard. But it's a very British idiom, I would say.
That's awesome.
That's you showing your time over here, Daniel, I think, maybe, and your
Yeah.
yeah. So there we go. We've got pass marks and the guys that are here participating tonight. Fantastic stuff. Question 10 is an ASAT question. Let's have a wee look. Where did America's most beloved president, Abraham Lincoln? By the way, can I say that this is a question from a Tribe fan and an Aquavite fan, Stefan Novak. This is his question, and it's his opinion that it's America's most loved president. I'm not sure if it's true.
Look, I could get behind that. Absolutely. He's my most loved historical to study.
Yes.
This period. I would put him and then Thomas Jefferson.
Jefferson. Excellent. But the question is, do you know where he grew up? Was it A, we're looking at 3 whiskey names here, Corner Creek, B, Knob Creek, C, Rowan's Creek?
Oh, I was thinking states. Hang on a second.
It has to be whiskey themed, Daniel. Scott Clark is here saying, "You jammy bastard." Absolutely, Scott. That's exactly right in Glasgow parlance.
Oh man, I'm gonna blind guess this. I literally am I don't actually know.
I blind guessed this when Stefan sent me all the questions, and I got it right, but I was blind guessing. Does any of the other 4, Tom, Thomas, Menno, or Harrow, do you know this?
No clue. I have no clue.
Just stabbing in the dark.
I think I'm going for A because I only had 1 A before yet. So.
Okay.
That's not the way to go with Roy.
I'm
gonna guess Knob Creek.
B. Now you did not get that from the chat, Daniel. I know you're not cheating.
No. I literally just picked one.
While the consensus is on agreeing with you, it's by far not unanimous. It is absolutely.
It is.
Creek B.
He really did? There's no way. Can I look that up on Wikipedia?
I did check the source on this. I looked at Wikipedia.
That's amazing.
No mention of Knob Creek in Wikipedia, but if you dig a bit deeper, you can find it. And there's actually a little picture of a hut that's close to Lincoln's, I guess, where he grew up, where he was very, very young. Let's look in the chat. Steve Anderson, you start. He's showing off and he's celebrating a 10 out of 10 tonight. Brilliant stuff. Klaus,
Nice.
it's a 9 out of 10. Damn, that Talisker got me, he's saying. Wonderful stuff. Alistair Gray on 8, superb. Scotch
That's
in the
right.
Pie, Leanne on 8 out of 10. Leanne is doing very, very well. Daniel Vermaas is celebrating. What did Daniel get tonight? Matt's Malt Cigars 8. Lots of high scores. I thought this was a tougher quiz than that. Arnie
I got
Tighe,
70.
7 out of 10.
But
How
I
did you-
totally forgot that Lincoln was born in Kentucky.
Did you?
Yeah, I don't know why.
Well, it has to be a whiskey themed question, yeah. Knob Creek, Kentucky, apparently, he was born near there. What was your final score, Tom Goosens? How did you get on?
I got 6 out of 10.
Pass mark.
Actually, I changed my last answer from Knob Creek to A because I had too little A's. So yeah.
Told you, not the way to go.
No, it's never. The best way is to take the longest answer usually.
That's an
Should have
interesting one.
known.
I'll do that. How did you go on, Thomas? How did you do tonight then in the end?
A 9 out of 10, so I should do this live more often because it was the best
You're the
score
man
I've got.
tonight. You should do it. I'm going to bring you on live. You want to score high. Menno, how'd you go on?
7 out of 10.
Still a great score. Did you increase your 5, Harrow?
No.
Oh!
Rowan, that's the only one I have tasted so far.
Don't worry about
Hey,
it. Don't worry about it.
Before I leave, do you guys want to hear a completely not whiskey story?
Of
No.
course we do.
And no, who said no? Wait, who said no? That was the best, by far the best answer, and the most reasonable human being, maybe the most prescient too. The so my
But
dad
you're
and I.
gonna tell it anyway.
Oh no, you've never met me if you think that's going to stop me. So there's this thing in America where sports is bigger than anything in high school, right? And so sports always gets all the money, it always gets all the teacher hires, and everybody else is sort of stuck with it. And so what that happens in Texas, where football is number one, and then it's God, and then it's country. It's football first. And inevitably, what happens is you get coaches who get hired to coach, but they have to teach too, because that's a legal requirement. And they get stuck teaching some random class that they are not qualified to teach. But so you end up teaching like history or health class or something. And it's some football coach who's like, just gives zero shits. And so my dad in high school, who was a straight A top of the class student, was in a history class taught by a coach, and he would always answer the questions in the least amount of words possible. Correct answer, but least amount of work, right?
Yeah.
And he kept getting back B's on his homework. And so he realized that the coach was looking for quantity. So the next test, he wrote really elaborate long answers to everything, and he got 100. Got an A. And so then he started testing the coach. So he would write all the long answers, and in the middle of his paper, he would write like random facts about totally unrelated things. And he kept getting back A's. And so finally one day, in the middle of his paper, he wrote like a whole paragraph about what an idiot the coach was. And he got his paper back as an A. and next to him, his buddy, who was also like him, like a straight A student, who was super frustrated, but who was unwilling to bend, was like, no, you should bend to me. I'm giving the right answers. My dad goes, look, man, I totally wrote this thing about the coach and you gave me an A. And the guy goes, that's bullshit. Hey, coach.
Oh, rat.
And my dad's like, what? And he goes, look, Brad wrote a whole bunch of bullshit on his probably not, didn't say bullshit. Brad wrote a whole bunch of crap on his paper, and you gave him an A, and I wrote all the right answers, and you gave me a B. What the hell? And so the coach is like, Brad and so come on up. And Dad's freaking out. Oh no, okay. So he sets his paper in front of the coach. The coach picks up the other guy's paper, my dad's paper, and like flips through the pages and sets it down. He picks up the guy's paper, flips through the pages, goes, marks out B and writes A, and hands it back. He never got in trouble. Never got busted for it.
So what's the takeaway from that? What's the moral?
Write long answers. You already had it. Always go for the long answer.
Or coaches can't read.
If you can't add value, make it look like you're adding value.
Yeah. Wait, you might have just described our entire channel.
Well, I'm going to say cheers to Graham Young. I think it was Graham Young and also Steve A tonight. Looked both to get 10 out of 10 on that quiz, which I felt was a tricky quiz. That's a great score to have. Thanks to everybody for joining in tonight. Thanks for staying to the end. Thanks to everyone for staying late. If you're interested in more whiskey hangouts, please stay along in about half an hour's time, just a little over half an hour. The Scotch for Dummies over on their channel will be going live. I'll be joining them to raise a glass with them before I call it a night tonight. I hope you'll join me over there. John Pallister has just bought me a dram and said, finally able to catch a vPub live. Thanks for your extra content these past weeks. You're very welcome, John. Been watching them all on replay. Brilliant guests and topics. Think I owe you a dram by now. You're very, very welcome, and thank you for your dram. Espen has also bought me a dram and said, good fun night tonight. Skål, Espen, and thank you, John. Cheers. I'll raise a glass to you guys as well, to Tom Goosens, to Thomas Vervoort, to Menno Clays, and to Harro Hildering is your surname, Harro?
Yes, Hildering.
Thank you for participating. Thank you for taking the time out of the day, Daniel, as well. I really hope we get a chance to hang out together, all of us, soon. And what a wonderful time I've had raising a glass with you all tonight. Until this all blows over and we can do it in real life. Thank you, and Slan Shiva.
Cheers.
Thank you.
Cheers.
Good night, everyone. Thank you all for your tremendous support. Thanks for making this a brilliant vPub, very well attended as well. Thank you all for your time. I know there's a bunch of content out there to watch, and I'm very glad that you watch this. Good night.